Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, glad to have you here. Today we have another Empire on Greenskin matchup, but this time it is me taking the Empire against the Greenskins. And this is a very iffy matchup for the Empire. As I've said before in my previous videos, it's a very uphill battle. Just the Greenskins are just a powerful and flexible faction that is very difficult for the Empire to take them on, especially when the Empire's main kind of benefit is the cheap infantry who can hold, but they can't hold against things like Savage Orc Biggins and Savage Orcs, and so it can be a very, very uphill fight for them. This is kind of my answer to the build, to the Savage Orcs. Figure that the only way we're going to be able to win this is with some armor and some magic damage. Bypass that physical resistance on the Savage Orcs, and we're going to do that by using our Flaming Sword of Ruin here on our Bright Wizard. And you can see here it does add magical and fire damage, and imbues extra to weapon damage. And I do have the Kindle Flame here, so that's an extra 34% weapon damage whenever I cast that here on these four or three. I think you can only grab three of them. Great swords. So that is kind of what I'm going to be trying out here in the future, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a couple more videos. I have made some changes to the build since this battle. But basically the general idea, basic unit layout is going to be the same each time. You can see main line of greatswords, two crossbowmen behind them to deal with Rustiers, deal with, they do decent against Savage Orcs, and just, really great at taking out giants, which my opponent actually has in this battle. Over here I have two spearmen protecting them, and then I have a single unit of flagellants here to kind of fill any gaps, make sure my crossbowmen stay alive to do what they need to do. On each flank I do have some Knights of the Blazing Sun, trying to kind of synergize with my Flame Wizard. So that extra 12% damage here is going to be a bit of a help. So I don't know what 12% of 32 is, or 42 is, but any damage that can be added is helpful. And I do have a spearman on each side because I really don't think these guys are going to be trading cost effectively if they have to fight one-on-one with Orc Boarboy Biggins. And I do have Boris Todbringer here on his Griffin, and I brought this guy because health regeneration so critical, and since I'm bringing the Bright Wizard, I'm not going to be bringing the Jade Wizard. So definitely a tough choice there, but I'm going to be trying. My opponent has brought an interesting build. One you run Goblin Rocklobber here. I would have liked to see the Regiment of Renown just because they're a little bit more accurate, and they do put blind on the opponent, so definitely a powerful unit there. In the front he does have four Savage Orc Biggins, three Savage Orc Biggins and a Savage Orc. He has a firing line of three Night Goblin Archers here. Behind them he does have two Black Orcs, he has a Giant, he has Azag the Slaughter on Skullmuncher. Great to see him, you don't see him too often. And then he has two Goblin Wolf Riders there out on the flanks. And we'll get this battle started. And I'm just going to move up because there's not really much I can do here. He has the artillery. Here the Rocklobber is opening fire straight onto my spears and my Blazing Sun, so not the best situation for me. I'm just kind of actually happy he's not firing at my greatswords because they are very crucial to this fight. Here you can see Boris is going to come in, see what's going on, see if he can just go fight Skullmuncher in the air, because I would win that, but I do discover these Night Goblin Archers, and I'll be pulling out here in a second. And here I'm actually going to cross their firing path, thinking I was relatively safe. For some reason Boris stops moving, and he's just going to get shot to pieces. You saw that attack order? I have no idea why it stopped, but there you are. And now these guys are going to have time to turn around, and you're going to see they're dropping some serious damage here on Boris already. which is not the best start for me. You can see these Knights of the Blazing Sun. I have taken some damage from these Orc Goblin Rock Lobbers, but I am moving around to kind of flank. And he's moving a ton of biggins out here to counter my flank. So, you know, I don't want that to happen. What does he drop here? A nice Spirit Leech on Boris, which is not the best. And we're going to be charging in our greatswords here and running away with Boris, because he's taken far too much damage here. You can see these rock lobbers. Now I'm going to bring my spearmen in against these biggins just to delay them. I know I'm not going to win that fight, but it's going to allow my Knights of the Blazing Sun to come in there and do what they need to do. While my crossbows here go ahead and take out this giant. Huge threat on the field to my greatswords, and so this is just a wonderful 1600 gold. I'm going to try and take off the field as early as possible. There go my spearmen, blocking them in. Here comes some black orcs. You can see the giant already half health. Definitely vicious there. My spearmen are going to come in here, realizing that he has nothing on this side to catch my Knights of the Blazing Sun. I'm a little less worried about them, and I'm going to bring my spearmen in to try and break these savage orcs. Here you can see Flaming Sword of Ruin goes down on all three of these great swords. So it'll help against most of these guys. There's not too many savage orcs in the main line. He brought them kind of out to the flanks, but it'll still help here. And that's an extra 32% damage on some great swords, so not the worst thing in the world. Here you can see I'm going to wrap up this Goblin Rock Lobber, and here come my great swords, trying to find a nice place to sit. And they're actually going to get in here, exploit some poor micro from my opponent. Here comes Azag coming down to my Knights of the Blazing Sun. I am perfectly happy to make that trade, and Boris is going to come in here and start wrecking some face here soon. You can see their squash between great swords and them is not a fight they're going to like. So those Night Goblin Archers are going to be wiped out. My great swords are trading somewhat cost effectively against these black orcs, but it is a tough fight for great swords. I wasn't really expecting to see black orcs on the field, especially two of them. But here you can see I am finally wrapping up these Night Goblin Archers, and I'm just going to come into the back of these black orcs, make sure they die. You can see Azag over here. This is too much damage for him, so he's going to be routing off the field. And you can see this flank is kind of routing off the field, but he's kind of blobbing in here, which is going to make a perfect target for Boris to come in and rear charge and break some morale. As these flagellants, you can see just how well they can hold against such an expensive unit. And here comes the rear charge of the Knights of the Blazing Sun. And you can see I'm going to time my Flaming Sword of Ruin for when their charge actually gets in here, and they are going to be hit by it, I believe. So definitely great. It's going to boost their damage a ton, and hit 3 great swords. It's going to proc any second there, yeah. And so these Savage Orc Biggins are not going to like that. I did bring Karl Franz over here because he is one of the few units I have, other than great swords, that can deal with black orcs pretty effectively. So his armor piercing is going to be a godsend in this fight, and he's going to help kind of swing this flagellant fight in our favor. You can see these biggins over here, won decisively against my spearmen, but some lack of micro stopped them from getting back into the fight. You can see my Knights of the Blazing Sun finishing up here with the Night Goblin Archers, as we now shoot into the flank of these Savage Orc Biggins. We're actually returning around over here. It's a good choice too. And you can see bringing some spearmen in just to blob. And that's going to be that. The greenskins leadership is not going to like that. And one thing I actually like to do is drop Cascading Fire Cloak on these guys. Look at that, 70 melee defense. These guys are not going to, they're going to take very little damage because they have more melee attack than these Savage Orc Biggins, melee defense. So they're going to survive in that fight much longer than they should, and it's only 4 mana, so it's not the biggest worry in the world. You can see there goes the Goblin Big Boss, and it's just going to be a chain route. So that's kind of the idea behind this army. You know, can be easily countered, I think, by the greenskins, but in a especially Savage Orc-based army, I think this is going to be one of your better chances, without cheesing, to win. You can see my Knights of the Blazing Sun doing some good work here. Crossbowmen taking out that giant, very helpful. Greatswords just doing what they need to do in that front line, and these spearmen just dying, and these flagellants definitely not going to get very many kills against Black Orcs. But you can see here, these Night Goblin Archers not doing the best. The Black Orcs getting a good number of kills, because Greatswords just cannot tangle solo with Black Orcs. And you can see these Savage Orc Biggins all doing pretty well. But yeah, I think it was just getting rid of Azag, these Greatswords dealing with some of those Savage Orc Biggins, and then really just getting that Giant off the field was a huge boon for me, I think. But anyways, great game to my opponent, and thanks again for watching. That's that.